Liquid Capital is the #1 provider of liquidity in exchange-traded equity and fixed income options.
My name is Chris Sitman. I'm Chairman and CEO of Liquid Capital Markets. We are a financial services firm with a market-making business, a sales securities business, and our offices are in London, which we formed in 2000. We opened an office in Sydney, Australia in 2003, and we've just opened our third office in Chengdu, China. That was about 3 months ago, and we're opening an office in Chicago. We have about 160 plus people working for us. I try not to count, but it's a very, very fast-growing business, very electric atmosphere, very interesting place to be.
Based in the City of London, Liquid is the leader by volume and rank in market making for brokers, providing accurate and consistent prices that reflect the latest market situation.
If you were a customer and you want to buy $100,000 worth of Glaxo, you could put up $100,000 in cash as a customer, or you could put up a fraction of that. So say you put up 10,000, you put up 1/10, and your clearer or your broker will ask you to add to that if necessary. So if the stock drops more than 10%, they may say you need to put in another 10%. Now what that effectively does is it allows people to invest more in a very simplistic way than maybe they have the capacity to do. So they can invest maybe $100,000 as the original investment would have been, but they can have exposure to $1 million or £1 million worth of stock. So in sharp movements, that leverage accelerates your gains or your losses, which in the kind of markets we're in is quite dangerous.
Excellent academic qualifications do not necessarily make a world-class trader. That is why Liquid Capital employs brokers and advisors with decades of cumulative experience in the financial markets to turn its recruits from fresh-faced graduates into market-ready traders.
My mandate is one of them is to find trainee traders for the company. We operate a trainee trader scheme. That's how we prefer to have traders, is rather than employing them from outside, to recruit people who know little about trading and to make them into traders. So a lot of my time is spent doing just that. I go about recruiting staff, particularly trainee traders, by advertising on various websites, such as eFinancial Careers, and also on the university websites. And we've just started doing the graduate recruitment round at the various universities and telling people about us and what we do.
In terms of the kind of background we're looking for in candidates who want to train as trainee traders, we are obviously very interested in university graduates. We select right across all the disciplines, so while many of our graduates come from a mathematics backgrounds, there are others who even come from art degree backgrounds. However, we don't exclusively limit our recruitment to university graduates. When candidates get in touch with us who have no university background but can demonstrate the sort of qualities we're looking for, such as a real interest and commitment in this sector, then we will assess them just like any other graduate on their merits.
Someone who makes a good applicant for us is someone who has decided categorically that this is something that they want to do, and that's recognisable by what they've done and the evidence that they can provide us to convince us that this is something that they have reflected on, they have investigated, and they're sure that it suits them. So it's very easy for us to recognise applicants that make potentially good traders. Is there such a thing as a natural-born trader? We're constantly trying to find the natural-born trader. We're constantly trying to find someone with the X factor. And if we see evidence of it, then we will recruit them.
We're working with undergraduates in lots of different ways to promote awareness of the trading at this company and our trainee trader scheme. We've really been developing our programme of awareness in the last few years, and in particular we had a new focus on university recruitment fairs this year. We developed our own branding, we're developing our website and doing more and more advertising on social networking sites, which of course have taken off in a phenomenal way. We know that much of our target audience is going to be accessing these sites, and so that's a kind of a premier means of getting their attention. In broad terms, I would say that we feel our university profile, our graduate profile, has been really improving, judging by the number of applications we get.
The training scheme here at Liquid Capital revolves essentially around applied theory. We get many graduates that have had theoretical training at university, but the trick is actually applying that theory in a profitable sense. So my core focus is actually teaching almost the street fighting techniques, how to cope in reality and applying that theory. Just a silly example is standard financial theory. There's various assumptions, for instance, zero transaction costs, and you can borrow and lend unlimited quantities of funds at the risk-free rate, which everyone can understand is quite impractical. In the real world, you actually do pay transaction costs, and you cannot borrow unlimited funds at the risk-free rate. So how do we actually adjust for this in the real world? And these make a huge difference to the profitability of a desk in taking the basic theory and changing it into a practical application. Furthermore, we do a lot of training on how to actually cope with market dynamics as opposed to theoretical. The markets are highly liquid, moving very, very fast, so people need to think on their feet. They don't have time to go and consult their theory. It needs to be intuitive. It's almost the theory needs to be in their DNA. So we have a number of training sessions where we actually simulate the old-style floor trading, which is open outcry trading, where people need to think on their feet and are put under pressure, emotional pressure. They're intimidated and need to keep a clear head in those circumstances. We find that incredibly helpful in building up good traders.
As part of my role, I suppose there's a fair amount of admin duties. I'm on a desk that I really have to make sure the desk runs smoothly for the traders and just assist them in what they do. I would liaise between the back office and the traders, and then I suppose really picking up the phones to brokers, making sure that the kind of communications between the brokers and the traders, if they were very busy desks. So I mean, we're getting hundreds and hundreds of phone calls every day, so I have to do my fair share and make sure that all the information flow is going well. And it's just entering any trades that we do, we need to enter them into our systems and kind of cross them on the exchange, and just in general making sure that everything goes smoothly.
The first time I found trading fascinating was actually back in 2002, where I did, me myself is coming from a technology background. So one summer I did an internship at a bank, and that was my first visit to the trading floor. I found the atmosphere is really, really fascinating, and it's fast-paced. And then, it's only then I was given the opportunity to see what trading actually is. And that's how I started, I guess. I think the best bit of job has been the responsibility that I was given and the trust that people put on me. They have faith in us in terms of picking up things and making decisions and, you know, like the daily running of the desk.
Liquid Capital also prides itself on being at the forefront of developing and installing the most cutting-edge market analysis technology to maintain their position as the first port of call for the broking community.
When you start the program, everything seems so completely foreign. You don't understand everything. You look at all these numbers on the screen. You don't know what any of them mean. All these different parameters, you haven't got a clue. And people are shouting down the telephone. You don't even know where the sound's coming from. You need to work hard to get up to speed, and everyone there really wants you to get up to speed as quickly as you can, because then you can be useful. It is hard at first, but the structure within the firm is very supportive, and they know everyone's been through it. I mean, that's one of the key things. Everyone's been through it, so everyone knows what it's like to be sort of green and not know what's going on. So it takes you maybe 2 months to get that minimum buy-in in terms of knowledge and I don't know, procedure correctness.